Good Monday, everybody. Welcome into today's daily Bible reading for October the 16th. Today we are reading together in First Chronicles 15 and 16, which is going to be the chronicler's detailing of David properly moving the ark into the tabernacle that he has prepared for it, and then the continued worship that was being offered because of this wonderful event taking place in here near the beginning of David's reign. So let me get that text up on the screen here. First Chronicles chapter 15 and verse number 1. First Chronicles chapter 15 and verse number 1. David built houses for himself in the city of David, and he prepared a place for the ark of God and pitched a tent for it. Then David said, "No one but the Levites may carry the ark of God, because Yahweh has chosen them to carry the ark of Yahweh and to minister before him forever." David assembled all Israel at Jerusalem to bring the ark of Yahweh to the place he had prepared for it. Then he gathered together the descendants of Aaron and the Levites. From the Kohathites, Uriel, the leader, and 120 of his relatives. From the Merarites, Asaiah, the leader of 220 and his relatives. From the Gershomites, Joel, the leader, and 130 of his relatives. From the Elizaphanites, there we go, Shemaiah, the leader, and 200 of his relatives. From the Hebronites, Eliel, the leader, and 80 of his relatives. From the Uzzielites, Abinadab, the leader, and 112 of his relatives. David summoned the priests Zadok and Abiathar, and the Levites Uriel, Asaiah, Joel, Shemaiah, Eliel, and Abinadab. He said to them, "You are the heads of the Levite families. You and your relatives must consecrate yourselves, so that you may bring the ark of Yahweh, God of Israel, to the place I have prepared for it. For Yahweh your God burst out in anger against us, because you Levites were not with us the first time, for we didn't inquire of him about the proper procedures." So the priests and Levites consecrated themselves to bring the ark of Yahweh, God of Israel. Then the Levites carried the ark of God the way Moses had commanded, according to the word of Yahweh, on their shoulders with the poles. Then David said to the leaders of the Levites to appoint their relatives as singers and to have them raise their voices with joy, accompanied by musical instruments, harps, lyres, and cymbals. So the Levites appointed Haman, son of Joel, with his relatives, Asaph, son of Berechiah, from their relatives, the Merarites, Ethan, son of Cushiah. With them were the relatives second in rank, Zechariah, Jaaziel, Shem Aramoth, Jahiel, Unai, Eliab, Benaiah, Maaseiah, Mattathiah, Eleph-Elehu, there we go, Mikneiah, and the gatekeepers Obed-Edom and Jeiel. The singers of Haman, Asaph, and Ethan were to sound the bronze cymbals. Zechariah, Aziel, Shimei, Ramoth, Jael, Unai, Eliab, Maaseiah, and Benaniah were to play harps according to Alamoth, and Mattathiah, Eleph-Elehu, Mechnaiah, Obed-Edom, Jeiel, and Azaziah were to lead the music with lyres according to Shem-En-Eth. Shenaniah, the leader of the Levites in music, was to direct the music because he was skillful. Berechiah and Elkanah were to be gatekeepers for the ark, and the priest Shebaniah, Joshaphat, Nethanel, Amasai, Zechariah, Benaiah, and Eleazar were to blow trumpets before the ark of God. Obed-Edom and Jehiah were also to be gatekeepers for the ark. David, the elders of Israel, and the commanders of thousands went with rejoicing to bring the ark of the covenant of Yahweh from the house of Obed-Edom. Because God helped the Levites who were carrying the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, with God's help, they sacrificed 7 bulls and 7 rams. Now David was dressed in the robe of fine linen, as were all the Levites who were carrying the ark, as well as the singers and Chenaniah. the music leader of the singers. David also wore a linen ephod. So all Israel brought up the ark of the covenant to Yahweh with shouts and the sounds of the ram's horn, trumpets and cymbals, and the playing of harps and lyres. So the ark of the covenant of Yahweh was entering the city of David. Saul's daughter Michal looked down from the window and saw King David leaping and dancing, and she despised him in her heart. They brought the ark of God and placed it inside the tent David had pitched for it. Then they offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings in Yahweh's presence. When David had finished offering the burnt offerings and the fellowship offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Yahweh. Then he distributed to each and every Israelite, both men and women, a loaf of bread, a date cake, and a raisin cake. David appointed some of the Levites to be ministers before the ark of Yahweh, to celebrate Yahweh, God of Israel, and to give thanks and praise to him. Asaph was the chief, and Zechariah was second to him. Jael, Shemiramoth, Jael, Mattathiah, Eliab, Benaiah, Obed-Edom, and Jael played the harps and lyres, while Asaph sounded the cymbals, and the priests Benaiah and Jahaziel blew the trumpets regularly before the ark of the covenant of God. On that day, David decreed for the first time that thanks be given to Yahweh by Asaph and his relatives. Give thanks to Yahweh, call on his name, proclaim his deeds among the peoples. Sing to him, sing praise to him, tell about all his wondrous works. Boast in his holy name. Let the hearts of those who seek Yahweh rejoice. Seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his face always. Remember the wondrous works he has done, his wonders and the judgments he has pronounced. You offspring of Israel. Whoa. If you know how to use voiceover. Oh, sorry about that. Trying to work on this computer back here and get some stuff loaded and start talking. Let me back up to verse number 12. Remember the wondrous works he has done, his wonders and the judgment he has pronounced. You offspring of Israel, his servants. Jacob's descendants, his chosen ones. He is Yahweh our God. His judgments govern the whole earth. Remember his covenant forever. The promise he ordained for a thousand generations. The covenant he made with Abraham, swore to Isaac, and confirmed to Jacob as a decree, and to Israel as a permanent covenant. I will give the land of Canaan to you as your inherited portion. Then, when they were few in number, very few indeed, and residents, aliens in Canaan, wandering from nation to nation and from one kingdom to another, he, being Yahweh, allowed no one to oppress them. He rebuked kings on their behalf. Do not touch my anointed ones or harm my prophets. Let the whole earth sing to Yahweh. Proclaim his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his wondrous works among all peoples. For Yahweh is great and highly praised. He is feared above all gods. For all the gods of the peoples are worthless idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before him. Strength and joy are in his place. Ascribe to Yahweh, families of the peoples. Ascribe to Yahweh glory and honor, glory and strength. Ascribe to Yahweh the glory of his name. Bring an offering and come before him. Worship Yahweh in the splendor of his holiness. Let the whole earth tremble before him. The world is firmly established. It cannot be shaken. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Let them say among the nations, Yahweh reigns. Let the sea and all that fills it resound. Let the fields and everything in them exult. Then the trees of the forest will shout for joy before Yahweh, for he is coming to judge the earth. Give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. And say, save us, God of our salvation. Gather us and rescue us from the nations, so that we may give thanks to your holy name and rejoice in your praise. Blessed be Yahweh, God of Israel, from everlasting to everlasting. Then all the people said, Amen, and praise Yahweh. So David left Asaph and his relatives there before the ark of Yahweh's covenant to minister regularly before the ark according to the daily requirements. He assigned Obed-Edom and his 68 relatives, Obed-Edom, son of Jeduthun, and Hosea, were to be gatekeepers. David left the priest Zadok and his fellow priests before the tabernacle of Yahweh at the high place in Gibeon to offer burnt offerings regularly, morning and evening, and to Yahweh on the altar of burnt offerings, and everything that was written in the law of Yahweh, which he had commanded Israel to keep. With them were Haman, Jeduthun, and the rest who were chosen and designated by name to give thanks to Yahweh, for his faithful love endures forever. Heman and Jeduthun had with them trumpets and cymbals to play, and musical instruments of God. Jeduthun's sons were at the city gates, and then all the people went home, and David returned to bless his household. David returned home to bless his household. That is First Chronicles chapter 15 and First Chronicles chapter 16. At the very beginning of this text, we recognize that David is not going to make some of the same mistakes that he had previously made during this, trying to carry out this desire to bring Yahweh's presence back closer to the people by means of the Ark of the Covenant. It was the representative presence, and really was the presence of Yahweh. And he wanted that to be among the people. He wanted for their worship to be connected in a really strong way with the presence of Yahweh. So he wanted to bring the ark back. But remember in our reading yesterday that they did not do that the right way, but that they tried to bring it on a cart, and the whole very sad episode with Uzziah took place. So David was frustrated, and he waited, and then after rethinking this and maybe doing some investigating within the law, he realized, okay, what we need to do is we need to have the Levites put the poles through the rings on the ark, pick it up, and we're going to carry it. So we're going to do this the right way. So he says to everyone, he says, no one but the Levites may carry the ark of God, because Yahweh has chosen them to carry the ark of Yahweh and to minister before him forever. This is Yahweh's desire. We're going to do it his way. David's not making the same mistakes. So he gathers all the people, and he gathers them according to the tribe of the Levites, and he starts appointing them the various different ways in which they can serve, those who would carry the ark, those who would be in charge of music, those be in charge of all these various things. And we have them listed off there in that middle section of chapter 15. And then it's time for them to move the ark. So David and the elders of Israel, the commanders of the thousands, they went rejoicing to bring the ark of the covenant of Yahweh from the house of Obed-Edom. And Yahweh was with the Levites as they carried that. And then it becomes this very enthusiastic, serious, not serious, not in the way of saying that they were very stoic, because obviously they were not just stoic in their observance of this great event, but serious as in they were really considerate of how they were going to do this. This was not just some program that was thrown together at the last minute. They took this seriously. They really cared. They had a great passion for this great event of moving the Ark of the Covenant. They were very enthusiastic in what they did, and there was much rejoicing. There was singing, there was dancing, there was jumping around, there was leaping. Again, this all is just great enthusiasm for the great event that was bringing Yahweh's presence back among his people for the purpose of worship. So they end up bringing the ark of Yahweh back to the tent that David had pitched for it, which is the tabernacle type setting. We're told that this was in Gibeon. Let's see. Let me double check that. Let's see. Yeah, Gibeon, not Gideon, but Gibeon, verse number 39. And he starts appointing people who are going to be the regular observers of this particular worship, who are going to be regularly leading in this worship moving forward. And one of the coolest things about this text is the psalm, or the song of thanksgiving that David he tells Asaph that he needs to put together, and he does for the people here. And really, especially verses 8 through 13, we have here, I think, a lot of phrases that really detail to us what worship is all about. Worship is about giving thanks, verse number 8. Worship is about calling on Yahweh's name, verse number 8. It is about proclaiming his deeds. It is singing to him. It is singing praises to him. It is telling about his works. It is honoring his holy name. It is about rejoicing, seeking the Lord, seeking his face, remembering his wondrous works, everything that he has done. That's what worship is about. If you're wondering, well, what should I be thinking about when we gather for our worship assemblies? What should I be meditating upon as we're going through the various activities of worship? These are the things, verses 8 through 13, that we need to be focusing on. Again, giving thanks, calling on his name, proclaiming his deeds, singing, praising, telling about, honoring, rejoicing, seeking the Lord, seeking his face, remembering all of his wonderful deeds. Those are the things we should be contemplating as we worship together. Now, he is praised for being the God of covenants, the great covenants that he made with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and their descendants. He is praised for the care that he offered to Israel, even though they were few in number and not deserving of such. He is praised as being the God above all other gods. He is praised as being the creator. He is praised as being the one who gives. Therefore, we are indebted to give thanks to him in every way. Yeah, if we want to, again, think about just the attitudes of worship, the various things that we could focus on in worship, I think this is a great text to go and to read and to meditate upon and to think upon as we consider ourselves in the type of worship that we offer up to God. Does it look like this? Is it enthusiastic? Is it something that we have really thought through? Or is it something that we're just flying by the seat of our pants through? Are we doing it mindlessly? Are we doing it without heart? None of those things can be attributed to what is taking place here in First Chronicles chapters 15 and 16. It is enthusiastic. It is heartfelt. It is serious. It is something that has been thought about. It is something that has been planned. And it sets really a great standard for the type of worship that we should continually be offering up to God even today. If you have any questions about this text here in 1 Chronicles 15 or 16, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. And we'll be back at it again tomorrow, reading together in chapters 17 and 18, where we read about Yahweh's covenant with David. David offers up his own prayer of thanksgiving, and then we'll start reading about some of his military campaigns. We'll read about that tomorrow in 1 Chronicles chapters 17 and 18. Again, thanks so much for taking some time to read along with me today. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday, the bit that is left, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Hope to see you then. Take care, and God bless.